What's up, boys? I got the valve covers in, decided to clean up the bolts and paint them flat black. Got the coil in, painted the bracket that it's mounted to and the bolts just for the hell of it. It's actually easier to get off if you take it off, take the whole bracket off, I think. But I painted that, let it sit last night. I just popped that on, popped the distributor cap on, and just wanted to see how these G plus rubber hoses are gonna work. And again, man, I've seen Mishimoto hoses. These are identical, absolutely identical to the Mishimoto ones for 50 bucks, Amazon. A lot of the spark plug gap information that I was able to get is for people that are running much higher boost than I'll be running, and I couldn't really get anything specific. So thanks again to Foxbody Addicts Facebook group. They've been great, and I got some good information. People said to go with a 0.32 gap. I ended up going with a 3.5. That's just what I chose. So we'll see how that goes. Stock gap's 0.50. I went with 0.35. So I hope that works out. Plugs are gapped. I'm gonna move on and see how much more work I can get done today. And I don't know. I'm just gonna spend maybe another 10 or 15 minutes doing some more research just to make myself feel more comfortable with guys that are running a stock setup, stock head, stock intake, a 190 in-tank pump with the stock injectors, 5 pounds of boost. If I can find some guys saying, yeah, my shit runs great with that FMU, the Vortec FMU, then I will just proceed and continue to get things finished up today. If not, and it's an absolute must that I need to put 24 pounders in it right now, then I will put things, put things on pause, as far as the intake's concerned, and just get everything else I can done around it. Because I guess it won't be that big of a deal. I still have a ton of other shit that I can do that doesn't necessarily interfere with that. All right, boys, intake's on. Fuel lines are ran, FMU's in. About to do the plug wires. Everything's buttoned back up except one vacuum line from the intake. I got to plug back into the tree. All in all, it was a pain in the ass, but it's done. And I'm going to try to get the supercharger in tonight. Just the the bracketry and the charger itself. Maybe I can do it by myself. I hope. We'll see. It says it's pretty heavy, and it is pretty heavy in the box, so I don't know. If I can't lean down in there and do it all, I don't know. We'll see. But everything's coming back together, and it's Saturday about 6:30. All right, boys. It's Saturday, 9:30, May 7th. Mother's Day is tomorrow, and as much as I would love to keep going, I gotta stop. So, yeah, when they recommend putting that bracket in with a friend, they should strongly suggest it or make it mandatory. It's a nightmare, and the bolt they gave me for this top mount there for the bracket didn't fit. Had to use my original. It's a tiny bit. I don't even want to say it was smaller in diameter because it was almost. It was identical, but the pitch on the threads was just a little bit different. The other one wouldn't thread, so I put the old one in there. Sure enough, it thread perfect. I'm hoping everything is aligned. I still got to tighten some things up. I left some things, just kind of loose as far as the alternator and some other things down there. The way they had you mount that whatever that is, that vacuum canister, they had you mounted at an angle like this. It was still hitting. It wasn't allowing me to get this thing set in place, which I already had it in my hand hanging over the car with all the weight of it. So I ended up having to pull the whole canister off. It's setting down there. I'll deal with it later because it was the reason I couldn't get the bracket in place. And honestly, I wish the directions were a little bit more clear as far as which bolts. They give you bolt length, as far as which bolts you're supposed to use, but they could have just taken it just a step further as far as the bolts. And the lock washes, they give you 4 lock washes, a shitload of regular washes. I did my own little thing back here with a washer on top of this spacer tube and a washer below it. because of the way I felt it needed to be. It wasn't sitting flush. It wasn't sitting right. And yeah. I use the small pump delete, of course, and I have the 3G alternator, or whatever it's called, 4G alternator, I don't know. The big alternator, the 130 amp, or whatever it is, the upgraded one. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work to do by yourself, no doubt. But everything's in, fuel lines are in, intake's in, everything's buttoned up there. The only thing I didn't reconnect was this piece here, which I'm not even sure what at this point I'm using as far as the EGR is concerned, because the smog's gone. I really don't know how that ties into each other, but whatever. I'm a dummy. I'll just put it back together. But yeah, everything looks right. When I look down, it looks like it's all going to line up right, but we'll see. Like I said, that bracket is a beast, man. And honestly, I don't see why you can't just put the back portion in the car, you know, the part I painted gray, and then kind of just, well, I guess it would be a bitch to get the alternator in. So you kind of got to do it that way. I'm going to leave these tools in my radiator tray because that's everything I was using. I did end up having to take the bracket off that your fuel lines lock into, that little bracket that they kind of lock into right here, because it was hitting here. It wouldn't allow the bracket to sit flush. So I took that off. That's sitting right here. That's that. And then, of course, there was this bracket down the bottom that is attached to the guide for the timing. I had to take that off because it just kind of stuck straight out right here and would have just hit the alternator. Oh, man. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm covered in grease. It's like 9,000 degrees in this garage. All right, boys, I guess it's Sunday, Mother's Day. Don't think I didn't make time for Mom. It's, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock, and I woke up early, drove up to my mother's house, about a 40-minute ride, made sure I brought her some flowers, a card, some kisses, some hugs, a coffee, Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and sat with her for a bit. So I still had grocery shopping to do to get prepared for my daughter, and I knew I wanted to get back out here, and she understood. So here we are. Everything is tightened up. The one thing I did that seemed to make sense to me that they didn't say was to put a spacer here and a spacer here, a washer there, basically. And the reason I did that is because when they weren't there, this plate sat like this. Obviously not at that aggressive of an angle, but you get my point. So in the end, if I find out that as a result of that, the belt is not going to line up properly, or there's going to be some issues there, hopefully I'll be able to back, you can't see it now, but hopefully I'll be able to back that bolt out enough to where I can pull those spaces out, those washers out, and just put everything back together without having to take this whole damn bracket apart, because that would be a nightmare. Brutal mentioned between 3 guys, they were having a tough time getting things right, and it is difficult. You definitely have to do this whole bracketry setup outside of the car and then kind of drop it down in. But if you're only a one-man show, getting it dropped in and then getting a bolt started is it's fun. So I definitely recommend that. But yeah, moment of truth. Here it is. I'm pretty excited. I just cut the brand new fake Mishimoto radiator hose. They say to make a 2-inch elbow and a 3-inch elbow. Obviously, you know, I'm an idiot, because this side isn't actually 3 inches from here to there. This side is way longer than 3 inches, and I intended on having to cut a little bit off this side, but I didn't realize that I fucked up there. So here I am installing a supercharger. I can't even measure, but fortunately I have plenty of pipe over here. If I have to, I have this elbow, because I don't believe the way this G Plus lower rad hose looks in comparison to that. I mean, I guess it would work. Yeah, it would work. I guess it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's more. I don't know. It just doesn't look right to me. But whatever. I still got the black hose. I can make plenty of custom hose cuts, and those are obviously for the Vortec radiator hose situation so that it can clear the blower. I'm assuming this is the oil drain line. It's got a little bolt in the end of it there. Yeah, so I got to get this situation situated. I still have some pulleys and stuff. I don't know when those need to go on. I just brought the supercharger out. I thought it was heavier than it was, but it's not really that heavy. So yeah, I guess stay tuned. I'm going to take it slow. It's 2,000 degrees as usual here in sunny Florida. What's up, guys? Progress? I'm thinking so. I'm definitely exhausted. It's still Sunday night, Mother's Day, and we have a blower. It's in, and it's not, the blower itself is not, as you can see, haven't even crushed those A&N washers. The cut here may have to be adjusted a little bit, although when I pull this back, so this is just temporary. I just wanted to see how it was all going to line up. The belt on there again, just to see how it would line up. The actual idler tensioner for the supercharger belt itself is just mocked up. Just the bolts are, you know, finger tight. Everything else, aside from the supercharger unit itself and the tensioner for the belt, everything else is tight. You know, of course, again, this is just mocked up. I just plugged the wires on there. I'm not even sure if that's the firing order. I just did it off memory, but I was just tired of them hanging around. Everything, honestly, I wish I had the right belt size, because I didn't have a smog pump on this car, so the belt that I have, which is right here, I don't even know what number it is. Yeah, this belt is for a smog pump delete. You know, if you're not running a smog pump, that's the belt you run. So now I'm, of course, running the smog pump delete pulley, and so I'm going to need a different belt. And I tried to put that one on there just to see if everything was going to line up, and it kind of looks like it's gonna. I mean, it's like really tough to see. And I can tell Brutal had some problems with this based on the way he, well, based on a few things he said after he installed that supercharger on the, what's it call that thing, the retro Fox. So it's really, it's one thing I'm dreading, but I hope I got it. We'll see. Either way, I'm happy to be this far at this point. I really am. And I just hope everything continues to go as it's been going, because this hasn't been too bad, considering I'm working by myself. Again, I still think I'm going to have to send this way a little bit more. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe send this. I'm not sure. Either way, I just want it a little bit away from this, so when I pull this in, it's got at least a decent gap. I know it's going to be close, but I've seen a few videos where it's not. It's at least got like a quarter of an inch. So yeah, that's it, man. This is a Vortex supercharger install for the first time by a guy who has no idea what he's doing, but is just trying to follow the instructions and watch some videos. Of course, I haven't mounted the fan or the shroud. I want to paint the shroud, which I would like to do now. The humidity's not too bad, so we'll see real quick before I call it a night. I still got a little bit of sunlight, but I'm not sure what time it is, and I still got to clean up. So, yeah, that's it for now. I'm happy, I think. I mean, I wish like most of us, I always wish I could have went all the way with it, but just as far as I could get with it, with what I was able to do in the time I had. So stay tuned and we'll see how much further I can get and how much longer it takes me.